Hello chess friends and welcome to Jozarov chess channel and welcome to some big news that I have for you. Finally the new Stockfish version, the new Stockfish 16 is out, and as usual you can get it simply for free. This is really crazy. Again, big thanks to the developers of the Stockfish engine, because they're giving us such a quality product just for free. And when you think about it harder, there's simply no product like Stockfish in the world that you can get for free, because the Stockfish is simply the best product about chess for sure, about chess analysis for sure, and you can get it for free, and still it will be upgraded, still it will be developed further. So in my opinion, a noble, really beautiful thing by the developers, that they're giving us more and more pleasure in our analysis. So the link to this beautiful chess engine will be in the description below. Please download it immediately if you haven't already. Analyze your games, because in the near future we could expect maybe some breakthroughs in some openings. Maybe the Evans Gambit, maybe the King's Gambit will be a little bit more corrected, and then maybe we'll dare to play again the sharp tactical opening. So in my opinion, really a big thing for us for sure. So what's the difference? I read first of all the most important differences now between Stockfish 15 and Stockfish 16. The new release gains up to 50 ELO rating points and wins up 12 times more game pairs than it loses. So I think it's a huge development when you think about it harder. 50 ELO points is a great thing. When you maybe watch now the top grandmaster rankings level, 50 points, it's really a big thing. So I think it's a huge jump, and also beautiful development of the Stockfish engine. So I prepared a beautiful game now. Of course, as usual, we have covered many sharp tactical games by the Fish, and today another one in which the Fish played with the black pieces, the beautiful Dutch defense. And many of us, I think, don't dare still to play the Dutch defense, because it's risky, of course, giving your opponent many tactical opportunities. But the Fish can play whatever the Fish wants to play. Pay good attention. In my opinion, a beautiful amazing game here by both of these engines. So its opponent was another top engine, Caissa, opened with the move d4. The Fish response was f5. Still, this opening is evaluated as an inaccurate opening, something that you should try to avoid. It is, of course, battling for the important e4 square, but it weakens in some lines many times your king. So it's playable, but as I said, I would not recommend it. It's still kind of risky. So in the game we have now knight to c3, the Raphael variation. After move d5, now we have the Veresov attack with the move bishop to f4, a6, preventing knight to b5, and now after move f3 that Caissa played, which is of course the breakthrough idea, Stockfish simply battles for the center, and now after move queen to d2, Caissa is preparing now maybe here to play queenside castling, and then maybe to launch a flank attack here on the king side. So Stockfish smells the problem here, is sensing maybe some tactical possibilities, plays now the aggressive move c5, because if white castles now immediately, we could immediately battle now for the center. C takes d4, knight to c6 a follow-up. So that's why Caissa battled with this idea, d takes c5. But now after move knight to c6 and bishop to g5 by Caissa, the threat is of course bishop to f6 followed with queen to d5 or knight to d5. So that's why Stockfish plays this aggressive move d4, simply plays forward, gets now also some space. It gets also here a square weakness on e3, but gives now Caissa also the opportunity to protect now the opponent c5 and also to attack the weak square on b6. Stockfish counterplays this idea with b5, knight to b6 the fork. If you play here c takes b6, this wouldn't be good, because after knight to d5 and an attack against the pawn here on b6 and also against the square e3, you could maybe battle for the e3 square immediately. But look at this, h6, now you lost the battle here. Maybe okay, black will not be able to capture the pawn on b3 anymore, but now look at this powerful knight on e3. We can even support it later. Please simply push through, maybe also include somehow the knight into the game. Bishop will get into the game. So it's not lost or something here for white, but I think it would be quite unpleasant to handle this annoying knight on e3. So here after move b5, knight to b6, as we said, rook to b8, knight takes c6, queen to c6, and now finally e3, getting rid of this really annoying pawn of blacks here that controls more spaces on this side of the board. D takes e3, queen to e3, hitting the queen drops back, and now e6 by the fish, finally trying to get the pawn back on c5. Queenside casting, king to f7, interesting choice. Getting out of this tactical mess on the d file, but connecting the king now also to the pawn on e6, which is really a weakness. It's a backward pawn. We want to, of course, to play it somehow, maybe get somehow the aggressive move e5, but then, of course, the knight on d5 is a little bit loose. So that's why g4 here immediately by Caissa, breaking and entering here the position. This is the way to go. When we have kings on opposite sides, you don't wait anything here. You just play aggressively and try to open files and diagonals against your opponent's king. So h6, kicking away the bishop, bishop to c5, g takes f5, and now rook to e8 by the fish, finally connecting now all of the pieces and threatening also some attacks against the queen on the e file. But now Caissa probably makes the first mistake in the game. Plays now the move f6, which is not good. A better choice was simply to open the position with f takes e6, disconnecting now the pawn also from the knight on d5, and now the game would be very, very complicated. Look at this, rook to e6, the queen has to drop back. Now you play something like knight to e3, the bishop comes here, you pick up maybe here the square e5, attacking the queen, but also controlling the square d7 here. The queen drops back, you hit this one, black can also recapture the rook here on e6, so it's, I think, a dynamic, a very, very messed up position now for both sides. After bishop to e6, now rook to b6, so it's still kind of tricky because, for instance, you go with the king on d1, now hit the king, you have to step back. Again, a risky here position for sure here for white. So, as I said, this is probably better than this line that Caissa played with the move f6, maybe, as we said, just f takes e6, finally getting somehow also the light square bishop into the game. But okay, after f6, Stockfish makes simply further progress with the move b4. Now Caissa plays an interesting choice, rook to d5, sacrificing the rook for the exchange, but in order to create some madness finally to open the files and diagonals against black's king. So we have e takes d5, queen drops back, queen to f5, and now after move bishop to g3, now comes the critical moment of the game. Now Stockfish found an amazing, a beautiful, sharp move here that simply wins the game. Not immediately, but it's a tactical destruction here by the fish. So maybe just for fun, pause the video and try to see now maybe the winning idea here for black. Black moves and wins the game. What would you do now in this particular position? Okay, the rook is hanging, of course, and it seems so that you have to step back with the rook. But actually, this rook has to stay on the b file and support the further aggressive attack here by black. Here, the brilliant idea is an amazing b3. Really, really crazy. Let's see now possible continuations in the game. A takes b3 was played, but let's see now this primitive line sort of with bishop to b8. Now you get this one, rook to e1. Look at this, really, really wild stuff. After rook to e1, if you get, of course, something like queen to e1, then we'll simply play queen takes c2, the beautiful checkmate. If you play a takes b3 now, then we simply again play knight to b4, including again here the knight into the attack, again with the same threat, queen to c2, delivering checkmate. You have to even somehow get the king on d2. As we said, if you take it, the game is over. If you play something like king to d2, then we pick up here the queen, you pick up maybe this one, but now with bishop to f2, the game would be over. Okay, you could also play here c takes b3 instead of this move that we have analyzed before, but now bishop to e3 is coming into the game. Now this diagonal is uncovered, so you cannot escape with your king on b1. So b3, really, really an amazing tactical shot, and there's not so much that can be done. Really, really beautiful but brutal tactics. So in the game now, finally a takes b3. Now Stockfish follow-up is an amazing rook takes b3. Really, really amazing continuation of the tactics. If you play c takes b3, then again we have this problem. Bishop to e3, you have to cover now with the queen, and the game is over. So after bishop to rook to b3, here bishop to h3 was played by Caissa, finally getting this bishop into the game and also trying to get the queen out of this tactics here on this long diagonal. Stockfish plays queen to g5 with the check. Now we have king to b1. If you play f4, for instance, if you lock the diagonal, then you have this one, bishop to e3. You have to step back. Look at this, rook to b2 is going to happen. So it's just a tactical flow. It's just a tactical destruction instructions. So rook to b2, king to b2. Now look at this, rook to b8, king to a2, and now this knight is coming into the game. The queen is coming. There's simply no good defense against queen to c3, or maybe another check. We can also play knight to c2, then also something like this, bishop to c5. So with this artillery against the naked king here on the queen side, the game is simply lost here for white for sure. So after move queen to g5, that's why king to b1. Now Stockfish continues with rook to b5, bishop to f1, hitting the rook, but now a rook to b7, simply keeping here the pressure on the b file. So we have now the move b3, rook to e3, very, very tricky here already, threatening of course some also ideas of rook to b3, or maybe even with a5, a4, trying somehow open up the b file here against white's king. Again, it's tricky here, really dangerous position. In the game we have now the move h4, kicking with the queen, and now Stockfish continues the pressure with queen to f5. Now there's a huge threat with rook to b3, because you cannot even take because of the tensions here on the long diagonal. So that's why king to c1 and now by Caissa. If you play something like bishop to d3, look how crazy really the game becomes. You play something like rook takes b3 immediately after c takes b3, rook to d3, attacking the queen. The queen has to now cover this diagonal, because you get it simply tactically destroyed if you don't react in this way. But now a beautiful check would be rook to b3. If you play something like king to c1, look at this, bishop to e3. Now you play something like this, queen to c2, king takes c2, knight to d4, the check, and now you get checkmated in the most brutal and epic way with 3 of these pieces on the bank rank. So really crazy. Look at this, bishop to d3. Let's repeat it again, rook takes b3, rook to d3. Now this tactics, bishop to e3, we take. It seems so that white is getting out, but now all of these pieces are playing beautiful harmony, so it's game over. So after move queen to f5, that's why king to c1. Stockfish continues the pressure. Again, there are some tactics here on c2, b3. Again, if you play bishop to d3, attacking the queen, this is not working. Knight to b3, you have to step back with your king. Now you get this one, you get rook to d3, takes, and now in some lines, for instance, you can even get such a brutal and immortal checkmate. So everything is messed up here. Really beautiful tactics that are possible, and I really don't want to show you now the whole game, what happens if that happens. I'm just showing maybe the most aggressive and the most attractive lines that are possible now in the game. So after move knight to d4, finally Caissa sacrificed the queen for the knight, got annoyed by this possible tactics that Stockfish has prepared. Now the game is simplified. Stockfish sacrificed the rook, but simply gets the pieces into the game. Another check, we have another check, you have to cover, but it just prolonged the game. After a couple more moves, Stockfish delivered a beautiful checkmate here on b2. Really crazy game, amazing tactics, really sharp ideas for sure. Look at this Stockfish, when it gets its opportunities, when it gets the pieces on the most active scores, on the most active files, diagonals, then it plays in such an amazing attacking harmony like in this game. Of course, Caissa had some maybe opportunities to play better lines, but it's of course a low-rated engine, and you see now also Stockfish was forced to play the bad Dutch defense. So in my opinion, an epic game here for black for sure. So okay, as I said, please download the new Stockfish version. The link is in the description below. Have fun, analyze your games, analyze maybe some top grandmaster games, also some top engine games, and I think you can have a good preparation in some openings, but of course it's also some particular sidelines of openings. So okay, if you want to see more brutal Stockfish games like this, check out our commented chess games played by computer series. Here's the link of our playlist, and if you like this content, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. See you soon with some more videos, and what to say, chess is the best, of course.